serious. Then she sneezed. Her fur was the color of early morning fog, and she had strange gray whiskers, the likes of which Maylene had never seen. "You're safe now," Maylene whispered. "You're mine, and I'm yours." Leaving her broom forgotten on the doorstep, most unlike Maylene, she carried the baby inside to spread word of the incredible arrival. The Brie Moon. Chapter 1. Delphine rolled over and buried her head under her pillow. The morning sun was streaming through her window, tickling her whiskers and calling for her to awaken. But she had stayed up too late again, sewing by the light of one of the candle ends in her workshop. It never failed. Whenever Delphine started a new project, she lost track of time. She would sew and sew until invariably her mother came yawning down the corridor to remind her it was time for bed. So when her mother had shown up last night, as always, Delphine had set aside her scraps of fabric in one of the many walnut shells she used to store her projects and tiptoed back down the curving hallways toward her home under the human stairs. Now she tried to snuggle deeper into her thistledown bed, tucking her tail under the covers where it was warm. Maybe she would be able to drift back to sleep. But it was no use. She could hear the old hound, Bruno, barking happily in the yard, which meant Cinderella was already gathering eggs from the hen coop. And if Cinderella was up, then Delphine could manage to drag herself out of bed as well. She splashed a quick bit of water on her face and smoothed back her gray whiskers, peering into the chip of mirror leaning against the wall behind her ewer and basin. Such dull gray whiskers, she thought for the 1,000th time. None of the other Desjardins mice have gray whiskers. Why must I? But she knew the answer. Because as much as she was a Desjardins mouse, ever since the day she had been found on the little doorstep, she hadn't been born a Desjardins mouse. She had no idea where she had come from. She only knew the story her mother had told so many times. Delphine glanced up at the oversized human needle that had arrived with her that fateful day. It had hung in that spot on the wall since the morning her new mother had brought her into the room 16 years earlier. "I laid you down into a makeshift crib," Maylene always said fondly. "You were so tiny I had to use the shell of a hazelnut. Can you imagine?" And as a youngling, Delphine had always giggled, imagining herself being that small. "I tucked you in with the blanket from my bed," her mother would continue, "and you fell fast asleep in an instant. The linens that you had been swaddled in and the huge needle, that was all you had with you. I folded the linens around the needle, and I hung it on the wall just above your cradle so that you could see it. I thought it should stay close." And so, Delphine had grown up with the needle in view every night of her life. Many times she had climbed up onto her bed to run her paws along the needle's dark, tarnished surface, wondering what mysteries it held. Why a human needle? And what were the strange engravings along the shaft, looking almost as if they had been born out of the clouded silver surface itself? The linens, too, and that strange crest that was embroidered onto them. Nobody had ever been able to tell her what it meant. "Delphine!" Mama called now, interrupting her thoughts. "Breakfast!" Delphine threw on her overskirt and apron, hastily knotted a fichu around